virus bailed in their banks, which means you've kept your money in the bank goes bust, they take your money. Now, that shouldn't happen. It should be ring-fenced, but that's what happened. So I thought, okay, we don't own anything, and we don't know who owns what. Okay, this is a really, really bad situation because this debt is not going away.
Mm-hmm.
So I went around the world with a couple of family offices to try and start the world's safest bank, because I thought we need a different way of doing this. And that's a really hard thing to do, to set up a bank. But we were in Singapore, the US, the UK and Switzerland looking at that, when somebody tapped me on the shoulder in 2012 and said, have you looked at Bitcoin? I'd seen Bitcoin. I'm a macro guy. It's my job to see new assets as they rise. And the moment I saw it and it explained to me how blockchain worked and what Bitcoin was itself, I sat down, thought about it, wrote the first ever macroeconomic strategy paper about Bitcoin in 2013, and looked at it versus gold. I said, well, if this is digital gold, so this is the new version of digital gold, and we can build the entire financial system rails on blockchain, so we know who owns what, which is the key issue I saw at the massive global level. Okay, this is valuable. So I compared it to gold and got a valuation of $1 million. And Bitcoin was $200. So I'm like, okay, this is the best reward you'll ever see in your entire life. So then I always discount myself for being an idiot. So I said, I'm 90% an idiot, maybe 10% right. So let's assume that it's worth 100 grand. It's $200. This is still the best risk reward you'll ever see. So I bought it then. And then I've been on that journey in crypto from Bitcoin, then seeing smart contracts rise, seeing how every contract, even me coming today on this Zoom, is essentially a contract over email. And, you know, speaking with you personally is like, yes, I will do that. It's a contractual term. Every ticket, every hotel room, everything's a contract. And then you start realizing, oh my God, this is all going on blockchain rails. So not just the financial system, not just a currency, but basically every part of our digital world is going to end up on blockchain technology. And it's going to be a better way of doing things. It's kind of the final missing jigsaw of the internet.
And I recall years ago, actually, hearing you speak on Real Vision about the metrics you use to like value an asset and assess value of crypto assets, and one of them being like network propagation, and how there's just like unlimited propagation for a lot of these like crypto applications and tools. So that's still it's still true today, I think.
Yeah, look, I mean, Google or Alphabet's a classic example of network effects, right? It's a network company that has allowed application layers to be built on top of it. So what you've got is enormous value. It's the same with Facebook. It's the same with a bunch of these. The difference here in this, what makes this the fastest adoption of any technology in all recorded history, it's twice the speed the internet got adopted at, which itself was the fastest adoption of any technology in history, is because unlike Facebook, if you're a Facebook user, you get to use the Facebook network, but that's the only benefit you get, while the shareholders make all the money. In this new world, if you're a token holder, you get to participate in the network and also the value accretion from the network. So it becomes super viral, and everybody's going to be putting capital. And don't forget, like you guys and everybody else, everybody's investing in VC in this space already. So everyone's getting a first look. What's happening? Where is it going? How do we get involved? So the VC money of $60 billion that went in the last 18 months, because of the speed of the cycle in crypto, we're going to see a whole lot of products and new changes and new innovations coming in the next 6 to 12 months. And we'll move the whole narrative forward exponentially yet again.
I couldn't agree with you more. I'm very, very bullish. That being said, what sectors of Web3 are most interesting to you?
So I'm interested in two levels, which is why I started those two businesses. Exponential Age Asset Management. Every investor in the world is going to invest in this sector. Right now, it's probably something like 0.5% or 0.25% or something of people's investments, and it's going to get much larger. So how do you capture that? That's why I started an asset management company that invests in digital asset hedge funds. Okay, so that's part of the trend. Much like, again, you guys at corporate level through the VC arm will be investing in VC companies, so you're capturing the trend. The other thing is the big light bulb moment for me was realizing that tokenization is going to unlock intangibles on global balance sheets. So what do I mean by that? Intangibles are things like brand and community. I think as McKinsey put intangibles at about $60 trillion on global balance sheets. How they came up with that number, I've no idea. And again, however wrong it is, doesn't really matter. The point being that tokenizing brand and tokenizing community is going to put this on the balance sheet. So every firm is incentivized to do it, which is why you guys are looking at it, because it actually becomes a way of tokenizing community or network effects. So if you think of it in these terms, Disney is a $250 billion company. They're probably the most culturally relevant brand on earth. My guess is they touch more people. I think everybody's got a Disney story, whatever age group you are, you know Disney. Disney has a part of your life, whether it's, in whatever function. What is that worth if you were to tokenize the various sub-franchises like Marvel or even Mickey Mouse or whatever it is, right? What is that all worth? Disney is a brand. Could Disney have its own currency, essentially? Could you have a social token and NFTs? All of that combined is probably $1 trillion or $2 trillion. That's not even on their balance sheet. It's not even valued that way yet. So I'm really excited about the tokenization of culture. Culture is the thing that we are all involved in at scale. We all live our life. It defines us as human beings. What are the big cultural identities? Music. I'm a big music fan. Music is a cultural identity that we have. Secondly, fashion. Fashion is a cultural identifier, something people are passionate about. Thirdly, sports. It's so tribal, so cultural. And finally, probably movie, TV, book franchises, that kind of stuff. The other two, I would say, would be politics and religion, but I probably wouldn't want to get involved in tokenizing those. But Science.Magic Studios, the business I've set up, co-founded, the job is to help giant corporations with giant communities tokenize this culture, because that is a huge unlock. And what we're advising people with Science.Magic Studios is be true to Web3 ideals, but do not try and sell people Web3 because they have no idea what you're talking about. So really, we're all used to things like like buttons and reward systems. We've seen Reddit do a great job with this already, and they've already integrated a token. So the big unlock is making it easy for people. Where makes it easy? I think one of the single biggest points of entry is tickets. The events at scale, you can get, if you held a metaverse festival of music and got some of the biggest bands in the world there, like Coachella, but on the internet, you could get 100 million people into NFTs immediately. Just because, as long as you've got a wallet integration, you can just drop it to them. And there are now wallets that you don't even know. You don't need to know what chain it's on or anything. It's like, here's your thing. So that's how Starbucks have been doing it, and that's how several brands have been doing it. That's how Ticketmaster have been doing it. Ticketmaster Genius said, well, every time you get a Ticketmaster ticket, much like your Apple wallet or whatever, you can put your ticket in your Ticketmaster wallet, right? So for easy access. They made their Ticketmaster wallet Web3. So then every time you go to an event, they drop you NFTs. So now you've got NFTs, you've not done anything, you don't know anything about blockchain, and you don't need to. These are just digital assets that move around. So, you guys have the greatest property on earth to do this, which is YouTube. It is without question perfectly aligned for the creator economy and Web3. And it can be a reward system incentivizing people to do it. And that's much what Meta are trying to do. But you have a more powerful engine there. It's really quite extraordinary. And you can break it down to a subcomponent like Reddit did, which is to go to, okay, we'll only do music or only do sport, or we'll start small because it's doable. So that's what we're trying to do at Science.Magic Studios, is tell people you don't need to start with the smallest community first and whatever. You can do big things quite quickly without making it scary. You don't have to upset advertisers. You don't have to You can just use it as a way of creating community at scale rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you figure it out as you go. You know, it's an organic process. There is no answer. There's no rule book. And that's kind of exciting because you can fail a lot, but fail small, figure out where you're going. And if you build it in public, people will trust you.
Mm-hmm.
If you come with a big ta-da moment, nobody trusts you.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, what are you doing here? And so, you know, I think Meta's doing a decent job of that by trying to build in public as much as they can, but it's still, there's a lot of mistrust about, you know, what intentions are. But yeah, that's my thing is use digital certificates or digital ID. The other big unlock for you guys is if Alphabet creates a digital ID, then that is, I mean, that's several billion people. Because if that was trusted, let's say it's a zero knowledge proof, so it doesn't even reveal anything about me personally. If you guys have that, it can be used as the access for the entire new internet.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that you guys can do at scale, bigger and faster than anybody else on earth.
I couldn't agree more.
LinkedIn are going there. And I spoke to them last week before, and you know, they're headed that way. People are looking at this. For you guys, you just create digital ID, non-threatening to advertisers, non-threatening to anybody. You basically own every bloody wallet in the world.
So YouTube, if you're listening, and the rest of Google, let's work on this. Raoul, we should work together. It'd be awesome to partner on something. I have one more question, then we're going to jump to Q&A. I know there's a ton of questions in there, and you've already mentioned like so many great ideas and opportunities for Google. And if Google is obviously like a giant platform company, are there any other services or platform tools that you think would be interesting for Google to work on that would be helpful for Web3 as a whole?
For Web3 as a whole, I think if you solve identity, you've solved the biggest single problem in all of the internet. Because don't forget and again, you guys are at the forefront of this, what OpenAI is doing and what all of these other AI platforms are doing is creating a world of pain where we don't know what is real and what is fake.
Mm-hmm.
If you become the authenticator, you can recapture trust. Because look, Web 2 is lost trust. We all know that, so it's no secret. You can regain trust because trust me, in 3 years' time, you will have no idea the video content or the written content, whether that is real or fake. Mm-hmm. When GPT-3 is writing stories and AI learns how it reacts, nobody has control of their platforms any longer. This is a terrifying situation. And Web3 solves this, but it has to be solved at scale by people like you. Yeah. You're the only people who can kind of save the internet from itself, because nobody foresaw this. Nobody really realized how far this would go. But the acceleration of AI is literally terrifying. It's more scary than sovereign states acting within this space. But again, we solve that too. We solve who is posting, who is what, because we can authenticate without even knowing who they are personally. So I could be an avatar, but because I've got zero knowledge proof, that's proof of what I've got. Now, don't forget, once you do that, and if Google authenticates it, anonymized, I can then go into a bank and just flip them my Google token, and I can open a bank account in a second. So India did that at scale with something called India Stack. They had this system called Aadhaar, which was a biometric authentication. And with the biometric authentication, you could put your KYC documentation. So now when you wanted to buy a mobile phone and get a phone line, as opposed to going through all the Indian bureaucracy of filling out endless paperwork, you put your fingerprint, you gave them access to your documents, they approved KYC in seconds. Same for opening a bank account. That got rid of even the need for a mobile phone to spend money, because you can go in and buy a pint of milk with a fingerprint because it links to your bank account. You guys can do all of this.
Let's do it, Google. Let's solve the identity problem. I agree. That's actually one of my most like my favorite topics of Web3. So I'm glad we can kind of see that eye to eye. So
it's know your audience. It's really clever how this evolved. Again, this is the crowd doing this. You know, it was A16Z who essentially pushed the Web3 narrative because it took out the word currency that was upsetting everybody in Capitol Hill. Once you take out the word currency, it's less threatening. Web3, sure. Everybody wants, you know, an improvement on Web2. Like Web2 is an improvement on Web1, so it's easy. So it's different narratives. And again, this is why these decentralized networks are so virulent, is because narratives can shift and find its path like water. So we've got three paths: the financialization of this, which is digital assets. So when I have my fund of hedge funds, Exponential Age Asset Management, what do? We're a digital asset manager. When I talk to on Science.Magic Studios to pop stars, sports teams, corporations, it's Web3. And when you talk to people who are really fearful of the financial system, the people who want a way out, a parallel path, you talk about cryptocurrency. And it kind of works.
I love that, Raoul. And that's a perfect note, I think, to end this on. Thank you so much for your time. Like, this is incredibly valuable. I enjoyed this tremendously. This was the most heavily attended speaker we've ever had. So, you know, pat yourself on the back.
Well, I hope I didn't disappoint.
Not at all. I don't even know that's not possible. So we'll follow up. I would love to continue the conversation and find ways we can work together and build some bridges, because I love what you're working on.
Love to. And if anybody, you can hit me up on Twitter or LinkedIn. I'm always happy to help in any way or just chat.
That's awesome. So give him a round of applause, people. I put his contacts in the chat, so please reach out, give him a follow. There's so much praise to be shared.
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone. I really enjoyed it as well. And good luck with this. You guys are pioneers there, so keep pioneering.
Thank you so much, Raoul. And thank you, everyone else. We'll see you next time for the next episode. Have a wonderful day.